Hello, hello. I just wait until the little two icons come up at the bottom and then we know we're going. There we go. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about standing up in front of control. And I'm not talking about rebelling or rioting or sticking your head up too much or whatever. I'm talking about standing up for your rights. So I don't have a lot of love for banks, and having been a business owner and a bunch of other things, there's lots of bank accounts, credit cards, all these agreements and statements and all this kind of stuff that go on. But a lot of times I really feel raped by the policies that are going on right now. There's this new thing with Visa cards and stuff where they're actually the first thing they'll tell you is that if you miss 2 payments, your interest rate doubles up to over 24 to 30%. How many people would agree to that in a world where we just came out of having big problems with businesses shutting down, our whole world being locked down for 2 months straight, not being able to make income, etc. This is basically just bankrupting people if hard times come. And you talk to any banking person, because I just got off the phone with one of them. Oh, this has been the same for years. Well, I've got 4 different Visas and MasterCards and other stuff with different banks. I used to read the disclosures religiously. This is not true because I would never have agreed to it. But they're all acting like this is normal and this is no change or whatever. But it is a change. And it's not fair. It's not legal. Yeah, anybody can put anything in their statements. And if you pay it, you do it. But this is stuff we got to start standing up a little bit for. Also, the bank changes their disclosures. They change this stuff and they claim that there's never been a change. How many times do you get a statement from a bank saying, hey, the terms and conditions of blah, blah, blah is changing next month? Just by reading this, you're agreeing to it or whatever. We don't actually get sign off on it. They can change the terms whenever they want. They make it so that we have to stand up for ourselves. We have to declare it. Otherwise, it just changes and we have no choice. So by not caring, not worrying about, not understanding, etc., we can get ourselves into the situation we have now. Look at all the laws, like states of emergency can be declared on a whim, basically, etc. And so I just want you to start to see it in your world. See where it's slowly eroding your ability to pay your bills, slowly eroding your money by increasing interest rates without you knowing, adding service fees, adding bank fees. How many banks? I can remember when I grew up, you could get a 5 or 7% interest on a savings account. You'd be lucky if you get any interest at all. If anything, more than likely they'll charge you $20 a month just to have the privilege of having a bank card with them. Even the bank card, like our debit card, which is our access to our bank account, according to the banking person I spoke to today, is now a Visa debit card. So it's part of Visa and it has different terms and they expire. Well, do you know what happened when your bank card expires? If they don't send it to you at your mailing address, they shut off access to your account until you come in and prove yourself the person, and then you got to start all over again. Why should a debit card expire? I can understand a Visa card or other things because they want to change the numbers and stuff. But there's lots of really hideous stuff that serves the bank that's going on all over the place. And it's not just banks, it's utility companies, it's anybody you're paying, cell phone companies, etc. So we got to start making a shift. If we're going to live in this world, we got to change the laws eventually. And I'm not saying rioting or whatever, but just insisting on the laws that we have to make a signature, we have to agree to new terms, and that it's inviolable of our rights to give us a 600-page statement of the terms and conditions. And it changes, and then once a year or every 6 months or whatever, they'll change the fine print to kind of fuck us, and then we're kind of screwed. This is not the world we came here. This has no freedom. This has a bunch of big corporations that have a bunch of lawyers that are just basically making our rights gone, slowly and inexorably, just slowly whittled away. So start to stand your ground. I got a bunch of NSF fees reversed because the terms and conditions changed without telling me, and that was $50 a time. So we got to stand up to this control, and these, your customer service agents, they have the ability to reverse charges and these kind of things that are done against your will, and they'll gladly do it if you stand up for yourselves. That's our money. That's our hard-earned money, and it needs to come back to us, and it needs to stop being stolen this way. So it's not a fight. It's being friendly. Just declaring your fucking anger, and I got angry, and I said, "Excuse me, ma'am." I said, "This has nothing to do with you. My relationship with Scotiabank. I'm saying this to Scotiabank, and don't take it personally. Don't whatever. Don't be sorry about it. Don't whatever. But I will not accept this anymore." And it was a much easier position. She wasn't now in the middle. She was now an observer of my frustration. And maybe she'll take that back and communicate that to her banking supervisors, etc. And maybe we'll start to make some change. If enough people start complaining, enough people stand up for their rights, things will shift. But if you just keep accepting it as we can't do anything about it, nothing will change. And we're getting rewarded. If we stand in the energy of this, we are making change. We're standing up for our rights. We're standing up for a better energy, etc. So just keep that in mind. And I've had a lot of experiences with customer service people lately where I will, in integrity, share my emotions, say, "Excuse me, I do not accept this terms. I do not accept what's going on." And all of a sudden, things shift. And as long as you're not like blaming them and then they feel like they're in the middle, they will come on your side. And they will start to observe, and they'll respect you, and they'll do everything within their power to make this right for the company and for yourself. So just keep this in mind. We're not a victim. We're not stuck in the middle all the time. We have a right. We can speak. They are human beings, and start to make this unacceptable. Make a tidal wave of people coming back and saying, "No way, I'm not going to accept this." And then eventually they're going to have no choice because they're getting away with murder, and we allow it. So just a thought, just how to change the world without having to fight, without having to have a battle, but having a discussion saying this isn't acceptable and I feel this is illegal and this kind of stuff. And then the tide will turn and you call it out, because this darkness has to be called out. If you were just in the victim and just pretending or just feeling beaten to a pulp all the time, they're going to keep winning because they're getting away with it. But if we stand up and say, hey, I'm holding you accountable. This is bullshit. What's going on? Eventually the tide will turn. So I love you all. This is a different way of looking at things, but it's changing the energy, changing the push of the world, and it's standing up for our rights. And I think it's important we talk about it. So I love you. You have a good day. And if there's any questions or any experiences you had, put it in the bottom. We'll get more and more people having it, and more people are going to feel empowered to do the same. I love you. Have a good day.